Looking at the game, just where do you think your guys' biggest issues were tonight?
I think our biggest issue, I don't know if it's an actual issue. I just think, for the start of the season, I talked about it the other day. It was just, of us being tested and us being challenged. And this is going to be, a familiar theme throughout the year. And that's to consistently play with a competitive spirit without us talking about it all the time. And I don't want to sit in front of here, sit in this seat after every game saying, we should have done this, we should have done that. Like, this is a grown man's league, and the most physical team wins. And New Orleans came in with an intent to show us why they're going to be in the hunt for championships over the next few years. They have a good foundation with Brandon Ingram and Zion, and then you add in, defensive-minded player like Herbert and C.J. McCollum. They all were clicking tonight, and you see just the spread out of the scoreboard. They did everything. So this is one of those things where I'm upset that we lost, but I'm also glad that we got tested tonight by a great team, because we need these. And it's not time to put our heads down or anything like that. But we have to show a strong resolve and show strong faces, and not be swayed so much by our home crowd getting antsy, because we were definitely very antsy tonight.
To that, I guess, touching on that, I mean, when you see 36-4 in second chance points, I know this is not the most sizable, girthy team, but what do you guys have to do, I guess, to understand that that's a weakness, but not allow it to be an Achilles heel that costs you night after night?
I won't make an excuse for our team, but being very antsy and jittery and just, it's easy as a player. I'll give you guys a perspective. Just being out there and you're trying something new throughout the season, and it doesn't work for the first 10 minutes, and then naturally you want to abandon it. And we talk, every day for the last 2 weeks about what we want to do in training camp, what we want to do in preseason, and what we want to be as an identity, have as an identity as a team. And tonight we didn't show that. And for that, we got to go back and watch film. And I don't want to give you a cliche, we got to get better. No, we have to improve on these areas that are considered weaknesses right now. And that's boxing out and doing the little things. Those details are really going to dictate our season, is how often and how consistent are we going to be dedicated to doing the little things, which is boxing out. As you saw, just the same plays that demoralize the fans at home demoralize us as players on the court when they consistently get second chance points and offensive rebounds. And they're doing the little things that, really decide a game at times. What you give to the game, they were giving physicality, they were doing all the little things, so you got to give them credit.
Kyrie, everybody understood when the season started that Ben had plenty of rust to knock off because he hadn't played in so long. What can you guys do to help get him going early so that he can find and keep a rhythm?
You just got to get reps and minutes. I think it's as simple as that. We told him in the locker room he is a valuable piece for us, and we need him out there. And fouling out is not an option. Playing aggressive is something that we want him to do, but we also want to play smart. And we can hold each other accountable like that in that locker room, which I'm glad for. So we talked about it. It's not time to, again, revert back to old habits. There were a few times where we lost games last year, and I could just feel our spirit just down. And when we lose games, obviously there are things that we want to correct, but we don't want to lose this way, which is beating ourselves up and not doing the things that we know that the game deserves.
Kyrie, I'm sure you would have wanted to shoot better tonight. Just was that something the Pelicans were doing? Did you like the looks that you were getting?
Yeah, I loved all the looks. A few of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them, that I felt like I could have gotten off the ball and gotten some easier. And they were rushed a little bit. But I'm glad that we got to see what a great defense is going to do night to night. When Kev's got it going like that, we got to be able to help him. And we don't want to rely on him so much so early. We know he's one of the greatest ever, but as a team, we got to support him. And in the starting lineup, as you see, we had a few guys over, double figures, but we have to do the things that have been working for us, and that's swinging the basketball. We only had 19 assists tonight, and there were a lot of ISOs, and I felt a lot of possessions where it just got to middle pick and roll, and we can get to that every single time. So just thinking the game a little bit deeper, take this butt kicking like a man and go home to my family, kiss my babies.
Well, Kyrie Irving with, I mean, he's always, has a really the gift of gab and being able to just eloquently state what's happened on the floor. And I thought there's a few interesting things that Kyrie brought up. One of the things he talked about, Frank, was the ability to hold each other accountable in the locker room, and brought up Ben Simmons, and he essentially said, fouling out in 13 minutes is not acceptable.
He said fouling out is not an option.
Yeah, not an option.
And that's exactly what happened. I think he's probably referring to that fourth foul, which comes 6 seconds into the second half on Valanciunas. It's Ben Simmons fouling Valanciunas 43 from the basket.
Yeah.
You can't commit that foul when it's your fourth. That's your first foul. It's still a bad foul.
Right.
But at the beginning of the quarter, 6 seconds in to the third quarter, after you would cut the lead to 8, and then you just don't get it done. I also thought it was interesting. He said we need to play with a competitive spirit. I have a funny feeling that's something that Steve Nash probably told the team after the game as well. I thought you saw that for that stretch, the final 6 minutes of the second quarter especially. There were some moments with Royce O'Neal when he had like three steals in maybe 90 seconds. But I thought you saw that final 6 minutes of the first half. He did not see it in the third quarter. He just didn't.
Yeah.
They gave it too many second chances by the Pelicans, and Brandon Ingram ends it with an open three.
36-4 is obviously a sizable advantage in the second chance point department. You almost never see a number that large when it comes to second chance points. Frank, we know, and Steve Nash talked about it too, the Nets aren't going to be some rebounding stalwart.
Yeah.
We know that's the case. But we also know that we've seen them compete against bigger teams if there's the right level of activity, engagement.
Exactly.
How do the Nets make up for what they don't have in personnel when it comes to playing against some of these beefier teams?
And I think a lot of times, with rebound, it's like defending. It's a lot of times it is effort, better positioning, and I think they gave up just too many shots in close for Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson changed the whole complexion of the game because it seemed like every shot he took, he was cutting through the paint and then trying to finish at the rim with his left hand. So he either scored or they were in position because the help would come over, and then you're leaving a rebounder open. So the effort has to be there, and you have to team rebound. I think Steve is right. You don't have, maybe people don't think they have the personnel, but you can't get out second chance points. What was it again? 34-6. 36-4.
Yeah.
You're never going to win a game with that.
No, I mean I can't even think of a time when I've seen a team have 36 second chance points, and never mind only having 4 on the other end. Well, let's see what Ian Eagle and Sarah Kustok had to think of this game.
Thank you, Ryan. New Orleans shot out to a 7-0 lead. The Nets were a bit disoriented, and then the next time you looked up, it was 20-4. So that hole that the Nets were trying to dig out of, it was deep. They showed that they were in this game in the second quarter. At the end of the first half, cut it to 8, but third quarter was Brandon Ingram time, and the balance